We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Quinton Bell, Miami Dolphins outside linebacker. Had a really strong second half of the season as a rotational guy. Dolphins bring him back around the minimum, which I think is a good deal. Gives him a chance to, he's not guaranteed a roster spot, but like if he, ends up making the team, he's showed that he can be a solid rotational piece. He does a couple things really well that I think kind of complement some of your other players at that position. One being, I think he's actually a very good, edge setter in the run game. He also is, makes plays when left unblocked. His, run defense is pretty solid, which I think always helps out, which gives him some, early down ability. And then I think some late down ability is he's actually, probably your best edge guy in coverage. He's an elite athlete. The way he can move out in space is super impressive. That will always give him a chance to make these teams. Special teams also will help him as well. That's kind of, where he kind of makes his money. He's a guy I do expect to be around in some capacity next season. The pass rushing, he had that one big strip sack versus the Rams, but other than that, he didn't give you too much as a pass rusher. He can work some maybe twist and stunts and do some things that way with that athleticism. But it's really the unique ability to be able to stop the run and drop into coverage off the edge, which I think is something that Room, gets some help with, which is nice to see. He's also just a super high motor guy. Here he is chasing down actually Alexander Madison on that screen where everyone missed a bunch of tackles. He was the one that made the tackle on that play, which was super impressive. But this probably one of my favorite plays of the season from Bell, and maybe just in general for linebacker coverage, is Brock Bowers was eating the Dolphins alive in this game. And he was able to drop as a flat defender and match Bowers into the flat, on that, quick out route, and just match him and show that athleticism. Look at him open up his hips, get square, and then he's able to match it horizontally. That's some pretty impressive movement skills. I know the ball is thrown behind him, and Bell had the natural leverage advantage of what's going on here. But do that on Bowers, who, in my opinion, even though he was a rookie, was already a top receiving tight end in the league. Very impressive, and having the ability to do that off the edge too, which is important because edges don't typically drop into coverage too much, and usually when guys do, it's not something they're very good at. But yeah, he'll drop into coverage. Here he is, versus the run, just playing versus a kick out defender. Fullback comes to kick him out. He just drops that shoulder into him. Good power at the point of attack, able to set that edge, be that force defender. I feel like Bell does a good job as that force defender. And then, I believe Calais kind of dominated his snap too. There was just nowhere for Mixon to go because he couldn't bounce to the outside. He's getting pressure from the inside. Just good job playing disciplined football in those situations. I think that's something Bell does a good job at. And this was good for him because he had a really strong training camp. He was reported all over the training camps. And then in preseason, he didn't really do much. And in the first half of the year, he wasn't really doing much. So it kind of seemed like it was all just training camp hype. But he really did show the ability to make some plays in those areas as the season went on, which I thought was nice. Here's another example of him, crashing down. He's edge defender over here. He identifies the guy that, he's on the outside shade of is down blocking. So he understands when that's happening. You want to constrict down, but still able to, constrict these run lanes, but you still want to be able to set the edge. He identifies the pulling guard, throw your outside, attack the outside half of him so you can set that edge and he can't bounce outside of you. And then once you do that, you show the power. Now you use your hands to stack and then shed to the inside. You are able to help make that tackle. Good job with, Calais and, even Holland getting involved. I believe that was Holland. But yeah, just really solid work there from Bell, setting the edge, but still able to make plays once these guys commit to the inside half. And here's just another example of him taking on Juszczyk this time, who's one of the best fullback, the best fullback in the league. Takes him on, boom, able to shed, make that tackle on Debo. Gains a few yards, but from where he was aligned in this, cutting back to the inside, in fact, he's able to peel off of it after taking on that block from the fullback. Pretty impressive work. And it's just kind of all over the film. Setting the edge, man. Here versus a tackle, boom, good job. They kind of get squared up with him in the beginning, but he's able to do a good job kind of resetting that hands. Then use that inside arm as a long arm, and you do that to give yourself some good separation. And he's on the outside half. This is just solid technique there. And one arm is always longer than two, so he's able to keep his chest clean. And then once he sees the running back commit to the inside, once he's he's not gonna get to your gap, you're able to peel off of it and then help make the tackle, which is nice work. So he did a good job with that. He's able to work against the tight end here, reset the line of scrimmage, which is nice. He's not going to, bully linemen, I'd say, with his power, but like he's able to hold his own versus linemen, and then versus tight ends, he's able to, really be physical. Like this guy is strong and athletic. There's just sometimes I think they used to try to play him at off ball. That's not his game. Like he doesn't have the instincts to play off ball linebacker. But like his job is pretty simple off the edge to set it or drop into like the flat, which he's going to drop better than edges. It's you've able to find like a unique role for him that not a lot of guys are like that in the NFL. But look at him just reset the line, push him back, set the edge, and then able to peel off and make a play to the inside for a tackle for loss, which is nice. And then when you leave him unblocked, like on the backside of like these where like they're trying to hold you with the zone read, he knows Minshew's not pulling. He's able to close down. Like whenever he was left unblocked, he typically made plays like as the end man in line of scrimmage because he's so athletic. And then sometimes like on the backside outside zone, they just leave you unblocked because they think you're gonna be freeze with the potential RPO action, or just don't have the athleticism to get down and make a play. They think they can hit it before you get there, and the fact that he's able to just close so fast, was probably one of his biggest strengths. He made a lot of plays when he was left as the unblocked defender because he has the athleticism too. And like even here, he takes a little bit of a false step right away and kind of gets caught, not identifying that it's pin pull to get to the outside, and then he's able to, still break off and make a play before it goes out there. And in that Titans game, he's actually making some nice plays. As I was saying, left unblocked, like he identifies this guy's down blocking, he's not getting, cracked by the receiver. He's able to get upfield very quick. Often the Titans' offensive line run into each other. I think the right guard is supposed to pull here and, kick him out. But once he sees he's left unblocked, he's able to close that ground and make that tackle for loss. This was like his best pass rush by far. And this is the move he typically went for. If he was, he doesn't have a ton of moves in his bag, and I don't think he always rushed with a plan. But when he did, it was typically the hop into the cross chop. So he does the hop right there. The inside hand hits that elbow, good placement. Cross chop, and then you club with the outside hand, and then you rip underneath, and then he's able to get after it. That was the most effective it was all year. And then he was able to strip Stafford. So not going to be a big game of his where he's going to make a ton of difference as a pass rusher. I mean, you don't need him to be in the Dolphins. Like, you have a lot of very disruptive pass rushers on Miami. So it's nice to have a guy part of the rotation that can also, maybe play the run a little bit better, could also drop into coverage. He definitely can drop into coverage better than your starting edges. Your edges are not really known for that, and you don't, for the most part, don't always need them to. But having one that can, like this, drop out, gain depth, kind of leverage multiple routes, and then once he sees the dump off coming, he's able to close space and then make that tackle. Bell does a pretty solid job at that. Here he is getting a pressure and hit. I think this is one area they could have used him more, actually, is on these twists and stunts, because you have, especially as the loop guy, so you have someone crash down, take people out of the way, and then he has the speed and burst to, if space is opened up, he can take advantage of it to get there before, and he does it in that situation. That's somewhere I would like to see him used more. Here he is bullying this Reggie Gillum, who's a fullback at the point of attack at tight end. Kind of resets him. Good job squaring him up. Once the guy commits away to the outside of the gap, he's able to peel off and make that tackle at the line. First the run, you leave him unblocked, man, he's going to end up making the tackle at the line, even if he's on the opposite side of the run. It just seems like he's always involved in those types of situations. Even here, this is a, third, I think it's either a third and one or fourth and one, I can't remember exactly, but they get this for no gain. He's left unblocked, and the fact that he's even able to help get over there with Calais again, and help, limit that, doesn't allow the guy to get there, pretty good work. So I think for Quinton Bell, definitely one of the re-signings, especially when you consider how cheap it is, that I like, because getting guys for around the minimum that were at least a rotational player for you last year, that wasn't a bad rotational player, is always a nice thing. And he shows a clear skill set of fitting in the system. He was a journeyman vet that just, when he was, added to the league, he was added as a guy that, you didn't know where to play him because he was a super athlete. But it just didn't seem like he had an exact job. And then now he finally was able to find his role with Miami. So I like keeping him around, cheap deals, give him a chance to keep fighting for a roster spot, and then potentially, play, 5 to 10 snaps in certain games, because he can, make a potential difference on those plays while guys need to rest. Rotational players are kind of, the backbones of rosters. It's nice to have guys that can make plays in rotation. And for him, a guy that didn't play a ton of snaps, I feel like this was a decent amount of quality plays that he made, especially considering the first half of the season he wasn't really making plays. So if you guys really do it, like comment, subscribe,